So the holidays are here, and you know what that means, right? A kind of wonderful chaos. But for the aging loved ones in our lives, that same energy can feel, well, pretty different. I want you to think about someone we'll call Mr. Alvarez. He's always adored the holidays, but this year, as his family fills the house, something's off.
Just picture it. He's in his favorite armchair, and the party is just swirling around him. You've got kids running, the TV is blaring, there were like 5 conversations happening at once, and when his daughter leans in to ask if he's okay, this is all he can whisper. He's not sad. Not at all. He's just completely overwhelmed. And that really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? Why does a season that's supposed to be all about joy feel like, well, like it's just too much for some people? It's not just a feeling. There's something very real happening on a cognitive level. So let's break it down.
Okay, so first things first, what is this holiday overwhelm we're talking about? Here's the most important thing to get right off the bat. When an aging parent seems to pull back or get quiet, it is not a rejection of you or the family. It's a reaction to cognitive overload. Here's the fundamental clash. The holidays are basically built for speed and high stimulation. But as we get older, our internal processing speed, it just naturally slows down. Things that used to be automatic, like, say, following a fast conversation or putting on your coat while people are talking to you, now take up a ton of mental energy. And this is where we need to totally reframe what we're seeing. Overwhelm isn't a mood. It's a protective mechanism. It's the brain basically hitting the emergency brake and saying, whoa, that's too much information coming in way too fast. It's a survival instinct, pure and simple. So, let's get into the why of it all. What's actually causing this neurological traffic jam? Well, it really just boils down to a fundamental mismatch of pace. Think about it. On one hand, you've got the holiday pace. It's loud, it's fast, it's totally unpredictable. And on the other, you have the aging brain, which functions at its best with focus, a slower stream of information, and a little bit of predictability. The two are they're on completely different wavelengths. And this is so important to remember, because when we see a loved one just kind of pause or withdraw, it is so easy for us to interpret that as them being difficult or antisocial. But from their point of view, they're just trying to manage an environment that's become, well, kind of threateningly fast. Yeah, think of their brain like a project manager with way too many things happening at once. It's trying to decode who's talking, what that noise is from the kitchen, and what it's supposed to do next, all at the same time. It's juggling all these competing cues until it just hits capacity and says, that's it, we're full. And that's the moment you see them pull back. Okay, so we get the what and the why. Now for the really important part, the how. How can we become better detectives and spot the signs of overwhelm before it gets too intense? And that's the million-dollar question, right? Because the signals, they're usually super subtle. We're not talking about big, dramatic meltdowns here. We're talking about small shifts in their behavior that are telling you their nervous system is starting to work overtime. So here's what to look for. Maybe their replies are just a beat slower than usual, or they stop trying to jump into the big group conversation. You might see their shoulders physically tense up or notice them sort of scanning the room like they're looking for an escape hatch. These aren't just little personality quirks. They are distress signals. All right, so we know the problem, we know what to look for. Now, what on earth do we do about it? Let's get into a really simple but super effective toolkit for creating a holiday that's a lot calmer and way more connected. We're going to walk through 5 powerful strategies: narrating transitions, slowing yourself down, creating quiet anchors, giving just one instruction at a time, and making sure you reinforce their participation. Let's zoom in on a couple of these to see how they work in real life. Okay, this is a perfect example of one thing at a time. That first command, it sounds simple to us, but it's actually 3 different tasks, all bundled into one sentence. For a brain that's already overloaded, that's a really complex sequence to follow. But the second option, let's start by getting your hat. It's simple, it's clear, it's focused. You're basically clearing the runway for them so they can successfully land that one task. But okay, what if they need a breather, but they don't want to, leave the party entirely? How do you give them an out without making a big deal of it? Well, that's where this next strategy comes in, and it's brilliant. A quiet anchor is a total game changer. It's basically a pre-planned safe zone inside the party. Maybe it's a comfy chair in a corner, away from the speakers, or a spot by a window with a nice view. It gives them a place to just decompress, regulate their system, and then hop back in when they feel ready, all without feeling like they had to abandon the whole thing. Okay, here's one I know a lot of us have seen.
It's time to go, or maybe just move to another room, and your parent just stops. They freeze. And our gut instinct is to rush in, right? To help them to speed things up.
But, and this is going to feel weird, the right move is the exact opposite. Don't speed up. Give them space. That freeze, that's a processing moment. Their brain is working really hard to plan out the next move. Just wait a beat. Then you can gently narrate the very next simple step. You're respecting their autonomy while still being that gentle support they need.
So let's bring this all home. All these little strategies, reading the cues, slowing down, creating these anchors, they're not just about managing tricky behavior. They're about getting to the one thing we all really want during the holidays, which is just real, genuine connection.
And this is the ultimate reframe, the big takeaway. We're not talking about scaling back the holiday to make it less fun. We are talking about adjusting the pace to make the fun accessible. We're creating an environment where our loved ones feel safe and capable enough to actually join in.
And really, this is what it all comes down to. Aging adults don't need bigger, louder, more spectacular holidays. They need slower ones, safer ones, more predictable ones. Because that is the kind of space where joy can actually show up and stick around. So when we see Mr. Alvarez sitting quietly in his chair, we know now he isn't rejecting joy. He's just trying to find a way to keep up with it. And when we slow down for him, when we narrate the world and offer one clear step at a time, we're doing more than just reducing his overwhelm. We're opening the door and inviting him back into the celebration. We're making room for connection to happen at a pace that works for everyone.